Pesticidi su kemijska sredstva za uništavanje neželjenog bilja, insekata i većih životinja. Upotreba datira još iz doba starih Sumerana, no intenzivna proizvodnja i potrošnja započinju 40. godina prošlog stoljeća. Godišnje se u svijetu potroši preko 2 milijuna tona pesticida. U tome prednjači Kina, slijedaju SAD i Argentina. Uz sadašnji trend porasta broja stanovništva na zemlji, uz trend porasta potražnje za hranom i za proizvodnjom vlakana, a bez korekcije agrotehničkih mjera, pretpostavlja se da će do 2050. godine potrošnja pesticida narasti na preko 10 milijuna tona godišnje. Upotrebom pesticida smanjuje se bioraznolikost i narušava se prirodna plodnost tla, čime upadamo u negativnu spiralu gdje moramo trošiti sve više i više pesticida da bismo ostvarili željene prinose i dodavati sve više umjetnih gnojiva i time u konačnici činimo veliku devastaciju okolišu i činimo veliku štetu ljudskom zdravlju. Zanimljivo je o pesticidima, o ekologiji i o održivosti razgovarati s ljudima koji Hrvatsku mogu promatrati s odmakom. Gost naše emisije je poduzetnik Andreas, koji Hrvatsku promatra kroz prizmu mogućnosti koje čekaju da budu primijećene i iskorištene. Razgovarali smo s Andreasom tijekom jednog od njegovih boravaka u Zagrebu. Andreas, you're an entrepreneur living on the route Germany, Malta, Croatia. In recent years, you have become familiar with the political, economical and social situation in Croatia. Where do you see obstacles and where do you see the opportunities for growth and further development?
I think thank you for the questions and thank you for the introduction. What you're blessed with is an amazing country. So you have a great place which is blessed with nature, with a great climate, with a second to none heritage, and with a digital infrastructure by now, which is pretty competitive. You are blessed with people who speak more than one language, so you could consider it as one of the most multilingual places in Europe. And that is a really powerful combination. And looking at what you are doing and supporting people and getting a higher or raising the awareness when it comes to food, you need space, you need nature, because then you can grow healthier food. And people are right now, I guess, through what we experience with the COVID-19 marketing, people have probably never had in their lifetime such a wake-up call to focus on their immune system and on their health. And to my knowledge, without being a medical expert, the number one thing we can do is connect better to nature and eating better food. So what you are doing is actually spot on and is very much supported by the current wake-up call.
The major shock to the economy created by the current pandemic situation calls for a strong and coordinated economic response. Where do you see the solution for the recovery of the food production sector?
What I can tell you is you are blessed with having a track record of attracting more than 20 million people, international people, to come to Croatia. Connect that with the wake-up call of COVID-19. Most of those people will probably be interested to eat better food, actually healthier food. So you're in a wonderful opportunity to have a country where you can grow a lot of it, where you are bringing the know-how to people in this country how to grow it. And I'm sure that the majority of the tourists who have been coming so far or who will come again, will be interested to have a vacation experience in Croatia which boosts their immune system. So if I would be you, I'd just focus on this wake-up call, connect it with what you're really knowledgeable about, growing healthier food and making that part of the tourism package. Yeah, if you want to be part of the tourism package, you can explain it in English. Try that in Turkey, difficult. So you have a situation where you are blessed with nature, you have the right people here who speak the languages, you now have the know-how how to grow it, and you have the COVID-19 wake-up call. So what what does everybody want to do after COVID-19? Boost their immune system. You have the sunshine, you have the climate, and you can grow the food. So I believe you're in a perfect position to make that part of the Croatia message. Yeah, so what are you different? What is your difference in the Mediterranean? Yes, we are the place which can grow amazing food. Yeah, who in the Mediterranean has a climate to do that? Who has a space?
You own a beautiful palace, Juno Heights, on Malta. What made you decide to create such a beautiful place, and how do you run it?
I don't call myself an owner, I'm more the temporary custodian. So, which comes with a lot of headaches because owning places is not really attractive. So, looking into the heritage of that location, which was an old temple site which has been used to worship fertility and life for thousands of years, it is a nice spot within a beautiful setting. So that is part of the unique feature there. I got a wake-up call by a Hungarian woman who moved with her family to Malta and who actually brought that know-how to us in Malta. And so from having not really focused and having had that garden run in the conventional manner, because I just took over the candle for that property because the property already existed. So I upgraded it with things that I was familiar with this intelligent workshops, content streams, doing fun projects from there, bringing international people there. That's what my past was. She introduced the idea of running the whole garden and place differently. And I said, fantastic, let's do it. Let's create an example which is relatable for people, where we start breeding worms. Yeah, and so we did all the stuff. She got worms and we actually started breeding worms. We are breeding worms in Victorian cast iron bathtubs, because that's more my style, to get expired bathtubs, upgrade them slightly and put the worms into that, because that's more what I can associate with than plastic containers. But otherwise, we use this to have kiddos there, invite the local kindergarten, the local school, or people who are interested. And this whole idea of breeding worms, I think, really kicked off in Malta, because people are now doing the same permaculture project on their balconies, in their courtyards. So yes, but they needed a place to show that it works. Number one. Number two, where they can run workshops, where they can invite people and actually spread the know-how. So, and now we are blessed with a place where we have such a livelihood of species returning. So we have so many more animals coming back, including beautiful chameleontes and big spiders and all this stuff. So our kids grow up with thinking that's normal, and it should be. And people and kids who visit love it as well. So it's a win-win scenario. It's actually reducing the costs. It's boosting the nature experience, and it's a much healthier model. And I think it reduces household waste by what, over 60%.
Uklanjanjem neželjenog bilja, takozvanog korova, mi doista uklanjamo biljke koje smatramo da ne bismo trebali imati u našim usjevima, no da li zaista trebamo devastirati cjelokupnu populaciju, cjelokupni biotop određenog područja da bismo dobili veliku količinu željenog usjeva? To je vrlo diskutabilno pitanje. Pokazalo se da korovi u stvari i nisu toliko štetni i da u stvari biljke koje smatramo korovima jako povoljno utječu na plodnost tla i na prinose. What worries you about the pesticide use?
So what I experienced, what I saw in Malta, as an example, the gardener before we did permaculture, he loved applying those. Yeah, and we now realize that permaculture allows us to not use any pesticides at all. Yeah, so to shorten or to summarize that subject, I believe pesticides probably have been one of the core issues which destroy people's health today. Yeah, so I rather buy my carrots organic versions, so I don't have to scrap them off and I don't have to fight what might be on top of that. So, or if you look at blueberries and strawberries, I know for some people who work for one of these giant food retailers who are in the purchase department, and they themselves would never eat blueberries or strawberries because they know how they have been actually processed. And so from their perspective, they are highly toxic. Yeah, so meaning we so far have an organic department or a bio department in a supermarket. I believe in 10 years we will have a toxic department. And people will expect everything to be healthy because they will realize that why should they eat anything which is not healthy? Yeah, so this is what we had with cigarettes 30 years ago. People put labels on cigarettes. Yeah, so 35 years ago we didn't have that. Everybody was celebrating cigarette brands. And now you have stickers on cigarette packages which are really scary. And I believe we will have a similar situation with pesticide processed food, that you have to put labels on it which show tumors which grow, cancer features, etc., and then that will expire itself. So it's one of the misguided things which should be expired over time.
Posljedice upotrebe pesticida na ljudski organizam su mnogobrojne i višestruke. Pesticidi su kancerogeni, uzrokuju non-Hodgkins limfom, narušavaju hormonalnu ravnotežu, utječu na reproduktivno zdravlje. Brojni parovi danas imaju probleme sa začećem, a rijetko kada se uzrok traži u konzumaciji pesticida posredstvom hrane. Nadalje, uzrokuju bolove u trbuhu, pretilost, dijabetes, alergije, neurološke probleme te brojne druge bolesti i poremećaje. Pod osobitim su rizikom djeca i trudnice, odnosno fetusi, ponajprije zato što se odvija intenzivan razvoj. Do you think that pesticide use is justified due to the increased consumption because of the population growth?
But what I know is that food is highly wasted. Yeah, so one of the things I love about Lidl, yeah, so kind of German engineering on a pretty sophisticated level, that they reduce the price of products before they expire. So you can consciously decide to buy yogurt, which is only good for another 3 days, but you know what, if I want to eat it, why not? Yeah, so there's so much food which is wasted because it actually expires. So I don't think we have a food supply problem on the planet. We have probably a food management issue on the planet. Yeah, so that's my personal perspective on that. So we have enough food, we can grow enough food, and we should grow healthy food, which the farmer industry might not like because people will not get sick anymore.
Do you think we should reorganize our priorities and commit ourselves to the production of healthy food instead of cheap food? Do you believe that the cheap food is really cheap, or do we pay this cheapness with health issues, with treatment bills, etc.?
I think your question already includes the answers. I believe at this stage in 2020 the majority of the real power players in this, to answer that question, are actually mothers. Yeah, because not only do they have this upside or the uniqueness of being able to create life, so they give birth and they are still the core foundation of raising children. If mothers commit to only feed their children healthy and happy food, yeah, this whole question will not exist anymore. Because the mothers who are actually determining probably in 80% of the cases which food kids eat have that call. Yeah, and so yes, it's smart to feed them happy and healthy food because we love kiddos to glow and to sparkle. Yeah, and so if they're not glowing and sparkling, start with the food, yeah, add some love on top of that. But the food issue is a core. Yeah, so if you have happy food, if you educate your kids about food, like Maya, who's sitting there, she knows a lot about food. Yeah, she knows which kind of milk to order, and she understands the differences of milk products or dairy versus non-dairy and what the implications are. And so, yes, there's an entire generation who will not even take that anymore. But I think the change agents are mothers at this stage because they can decide. I'm sure nobody will argue with them and will risk the peace at home over the issue, do we buy organic tomatoes or not? Yeah, because they don't want to spend the time at the doctor, they don't want to go through any therapy afterwards, etc., etc. So the nutshell answer is you get what you pay for, number one, and to eat any products which don't make sense because they don't sustain the process, like it is right now with industrial farming and a lot of meat issues, those products don't make any sense. So if you can buy certain meat products and people who actually breed pigs at their own farm, feed them they could not even sell the meat of those pigs for simply the food price they spent for their expenses. Yeah, because industrial farming has optimized the process so much with pharmaceutical products, which ultimately then in the long run ultimately are killing people. So mothers can take their decision. They can just check and say, does it make sense? Does it add up? Yes or no? It's not difficult. All these things are available. You can research that, and with less than half an hour, it leads you to, I'm sure, the most of the right answers. Let me summarize. You are blessed with an amazing country. You can grow fantastic food here. You are already attracting, last year, over 20 million people. You speak the languages. You know what? You are a heaven. You are a heaven to focus on to combining food, happy and healthy food, with international people / tourists. So you are a dream location for that. So enjoy.